Welcome to the deep dive. You know, when you look up at the Manhattan skyline, it's just breathtaking, isn't it?
It really is.
Like this incredible symphony of steel and glass reaching up. It's such a clear testament to human ambition.
Absolutely.
But today, we want to go beyond just that shimmering surface. We're going to dig into the hidden truths, the really unique stories, and just the sheer ingenuity behind how these towers actually work.
Yeah, what makes them stand, what makes them possible.
Exactly. Our mission is to really understand what makes them possible and maybe what they, represent for all of us.
And that's a great angle because, so many of us see these buildings, maybe we even work in them.
Right.
But we rarely think about the incredible forces, both geological and human, that actually shaped them.
That's true.
So we'll try to connect those stories, those sort of fascinating details to the bigger picture, give you some fresh perspectives on something you might, see every day, but maybe take for granted.
Yeah, like a shortcut to really getting the inside story on something super captivating. We're hoping for some surprising facts, maybe a few aha moments.
Definitely.
That might change how you look up at a skyline next time.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start right at the bottom. The absolute foundation. When you think about building something that massive, that tall, what's the very first, fundamental thing you need? The thing we probably don't even think about.
That's the perfect place to start because before any steel went up, something else had to be there, way down deep.
Okay.
Bedrock. New York City's skyscrapers, they owe a huge debt to Manhattan's, its unique geology.
Really? Geology?
Yeah, the island sits on this incredibly strong type of bedrock. It's called schist.
Schist.
But it's not just, a fun fact. It's genuinely the foundation. It provides that essential base needed to support the immense weight of these, vertical cities.
So what if it wasn't there? I mean, are engineers just miracle workers, or was this schist truly indispensable? Could they have built so high without it?
Well, engineers are incredibly clever, no doubt. But honestly, It would have looked drastically different. Building that heavy, that tall, on less stable ground, the cost, the complexity, it would have been astronomical. It would have severely limited how high they could realistically go.
So the geology wasn't just helpful, it kind of dictated the scale.
In many ways, yes. It didn't just support the ambition. It sort of enabled it, prescribed it even. It gave them this incredibly stable anchor to build upon. Without that, the iconic skyline we know probably wouldn't exist in the same way.
Wow. That really does put solid ground in a whole new perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, so you've got this amazing bedrock. Building can start. But think about those early skyscrapers before electricity was everywhere. How on earth did they get light and, fresh air deep inside these huge buildings? That sounds like a massive headache.
Oh, it absolutely was a huge challenge. And it led to this really ingenious solution, something we now sort of affectionately call the wedding cake design.
The wedding cake. Okay, I think I can picture that, like layers.
Exactly. You see it really clearly in buildings like the Woolworth building. And those setbacks, those steps, they weren't just for looks. Primarily, they were designed to let sunlight hit the streets below. And crucially, to get light and air deeper into the building's core.
Okay, so it was functional.
Totally functional. It was about complying with city regulations at the time, light and air laws, but it also cleverly maximized the usable floor space inside. So, yeah, not just style. It was a practical necessity, a really smart response to urban planning needs and, frankly, human comfort before modern HVAC and lighting.
It's amazing how function created such a recognizable form, isn't it? But okay, you've got light, you've got air. How do you get people up there? We're talking buildings climbing dozens of stories high pretty quickly. Which brings us to another, maybe, unsung hero.
Yes, absolutely. Elevators. They were the game changers. They really transformed these buildings from, impressive but maybe impractical giants into actual functioning vertical cities.
Because walking up, say, 40 flights, not really feasible.
Not at all. Imagine doing that every day for work. Without efficient ways to move people up and down, scaling these heights would just be completely impractical. Elevators made the upper floors valuable.
So they weren't just a convenience. They fundamentally changed what buildable space even meant. Height went from being a barrier to being a frontier.
That's a great way to put it, a vertical frontier. The development of safe, reliable elevator systems, and you have to mention companies like Otis here.
Otis Elevator, right.
They were pioneers. Their work directly fueled this race, this quest to build taller and taller. It really shows how one key technology can just unlock so much ambition. It fundamentally shifted what was possible for architecture.
You really did lift the limits, literally. Okay, so we have the foundation, we have the access, but what about the look, the feel? There's that very distinct architectural style that just screams classic Manhattan skyline, Art Deco.
Ah, Art Deco,
Yeah.
yes. It's more than just decoration, though. It was like the machine age writing its signature across the city.
The machine age's signature. I like that. You see it so clearly in icons like
Chrysler Building, of course.
Yeah.
The Empire State Building. Rockefeller Center. They're prime examples.
And what defines it? What are those key features?
Well, you see lots of geometric shapes, often quite stylized ornamentation, and this really strong emphasis on verticality, making eye go up, up, up.
Right.
And these features, they weren't arbitrary. They really mirrored the optimism, the sort of forward-looking energy, the belief in progress of that era. It gave the buildings this cultural weight, this resonance that went way beyond just being tall. They became symbols of their time.
That makes sense. They feel optimistic. Now, let's talk about pushing engineering limits. Manhattan's got some really wild examples, right? Structures that solve unique problems. I'm thinking of a couple of really different ones.
Oh, definitely. You've got, for instance, 111 West 57th Street.
Ah, the super skinny one.
Exactly. One of the skinniest skyscrapers anywhere. The width-to-height ratio is just mind-boggling. It's an engineering marvel, truly like a needle sticking up into the sky.
It looks almost impossible.
It does. And then think way back to one of the originals, the Flatiron Building.
Yeah, the wedge.
Right. Totally different challenge, totally different solution. That triangular wedge shape wasn't just quirky. It was about maximizing every single square inch of that specific awkward plot of land.
So you have the impossibly thin and the cleverly shaped wedge. What does that contrast tell us?
It says so much about ingenuity under constraint, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's the sheer audacity of building that slender or the smart geometry of the Flatiron, it shows how limited space, especially in a dense city like New York, really forces innovation. It makes you ask, how does that very constraint drive engineers and architects to create something not just functional, but completely groundbreaking and iconic?
That's a fantastic point. Limitations sparking creativity. Okay, so we often think skyscrapers, offices, right?
Yep.
Business.
That's the stereotype.
But they're actually much more diverse than that, aren't they? These buildings house a surprising range of things.
They really do. Take the Time Warner Center, for example. You've got luxury condos in there.
Right, residential.
And plenty of towers have high-end hotels integrated into them. And then you get the truly mixed-use ones, combining apartments, offices, shops, restaurants, all in one structure.
So they're like mini cities themselves.
Exactly. It shows how adaptable this building form is. They're not just static, single-purpose things. They're dynamic ecosystems, constantly evolving to reflect the complex needs of urban life. They really are microcosms of the city.
And speaking of unexpected things inside these towers, I heard something about green spaces, like actual gardens.
Yes, that often surprises people. Many Manhattan skyscrapers actually feature rooftop gardens, terraces, green spaces.
Really? What for? Just aesthetics.
Sometimes, but often it's more than that. They provide these hidden oases, a bit of green respite for the people working or living there.
A break from the concrete.
Exactly. And some even get quite ambitious, featuring things like beekeeping or other sustainable initiatives up there.
Wow, beekeeping on a skyscraper roof.
Yeah. It shows this deeper push towards integrating nature and sustainability, even in the most vertical, man-made environments. It challenges that idea of skyscrapers being just concrete and steel. It's about finding harmony, maybe finding green solutions in really unexpected places.
That's genuinely inspiring. Green thinking, reaching new heights, literally. Okay, this brings us to another really fascinating layer. Competition. The history of Manhattan's skyline is just packed with rivalry, isn't it? This race to the clouds.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge part of the story. For a significant period, that title, tallest building in the world, was constantly being passed back and forth.
Like the famous one between?
The Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building. That's the classic example.
Yeah.
Each one desperately trying to outdo the other, adding secret spires and things like that.
That's for bragging rights.
Well, bragging rights were definitely part of it. But it was more than that. That intense competition genuinely drove innovation. It pushed builders, architects, engineers to stretch the limits of what they thought was possible, both structurally and technologically.
So the rivalry actually fueled progress.
Massively. That whole period of architectural one-upmanship was a powerful engine for advancement. It really demonstrates how competition, even if it seems like it's just about ego, can be this incredible catalyst for breakthroughs in design and engineering.
That makes sense. And once these incredible structures are up, especially when the sun goes down, they take on a whole new life, don't they?
They absolutely do. Beyond just being buildings, they become major players in the city's nighttime identity, that dazzling spectacle.
Lights.
Exactly. Buildings participate in these coordinated light shows. They mark holidays, they show support for causes, or sometimes they just contribute to that unbelievably vibrant visual tapestry that is New York at night.
It's iconic. You see it in movies all the time.
It's become completely integral to how New York is represented visually, cinematically. The skyline itself is a symbol of the city. These buildings, they really transcend just being physical objects. They become cultural icons, active characters in the city's story, telling tales with every light, every silhouette against the sky.
They don't just exist, they perform.
That's a perfect way to put it. They perform. They're a dynamic canvas.
And this story, it's obviously not finished. The skyline keeps changing. The future of the vertical city is still unfolding, right? What's next?
It's definitely a story that's still being written. We're seeing new buildings constantly pushing the envelope. They're incorporating really cutting-edge, sustainable technologies.
Greener buildings.
Yes, much greener. And also designs focused on maximizing every bit of usable space within that very limited Manhattan footprint, always rethinking what a skyscraper can be.
So it's constant evolution.
Constant evolution. The vertical landscape is always shifting. It reflects our changing needs, new innovations, and I think that enduring human desire to build bigger, build smarter, and leave a lasting mark on that incredible skyline. The story keeps going.
It really does. What a journey we've covered today. Seriously, from the deep bedrock, the schist.
Can't forget the schist.
That anchors everything.
Yeah.
To those clever wedding cake designs bringing in light. And the elevators, the unsung heroes.
Game changers.
The flair of Art Deco. Those engineering marvels like the skyscrapers and the flat iron dealing with tight spots. Realizing these buildings are home to so much more than offices, even hidden gardens. And then that fierce rivalry driving innovation. And finally, how they become these dazzling performers in the city lights.
It's a rich story.
It really is. There's so much more than just concrete and steel. They're an active, changing, dazzling part of New York's identity. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
My pleasure.
We really hope you, listening, have gained maybe a new appreciation for the incredible layers of history, geology, and just sheer human ingenuity behind these magnificent structures that reach for the sky.
And maybe something to think about for you. When you look at that ever-evolving Manhattan skyline, or any city skyline, really, what does it tell you about us? About humanity's, enduring drive to build, to innovate, and to keep reaching, literally and figuratively. Something to maybe mull over next time you find yourself looking up at a tall building.